I've decided to go easy on the feminists until early next month. You have to see the hypocrisy of the left when they talk about being natural, things that are good for the earth, right? They pretend that they're the more nature-oriented of the groups. And they don't like Christianity, generally speaking. Well, isn't the family structure natural? Isn't man naturally the leader? Christians talk about unnatural lust, like gay, lust. They talk about things that are unnatural as being abominations. That's why they're against transhumanism. And some Christians take it to the extreme, perhaps, and they're against technology. Because these are abominations, which are unnatural and have consequences as a result. And of course, they're right about that. Of course, the liberals are the techies, right? They're these like tech nerds, Silicon Valley, San Francisco, what have you. These techies, the mental health people, drugging people, taking them out of their natural, God-given mind states and drugging them into some kind of mind state that is conducive to bring in the New World Order, that is designed to make them conform. When they talk about how you feel, how you think, how you behave, and trying to make you socially normative, it is insane, The most obvious error psychiatrists make is that behavior can be quantified. It can be understood. The nature of reality can be understood. Only God knows these things. So they're wrong from the jump. They're like, well, we're going to drug you till you're socially normative, in this culture. And over there in that country, they're going to drug you until you are socially normative in that culture. And so on and so forth, right? So they say that there's a universal standard for human behavior, but yet, that's why they use the same drugs to treat the same symptoms, right? The one-size-fits-all kind of drugs. The only difference being using variations of drugs, based on the person's adverse reactions to drugs, to certain drugs. But then what is normal is not universal in the first place. So what's the answer, right? What is the ultimate liberal answer to that? Making a world religion, a world culture, and a world government. That way they can say, well, there goes that argument. But does that argument ever leave? No, because the same false pretense that was used to come up with that argument is the same nonsensical madness that will be used to drug people to be socially normative to the New World Order, whatever it is. And keep in mind, whatever the world culture will be, if you will be something that didn't have to be that. It's something the man came up with, just like all these other cultures, right? As soon as you have an artificial system and an accompanying culture that is not natural, to where you're doing what you want in nature, then, that's the problem there. Because there's a difference between drugging someone until they behave in a way as natural, which really is no point, right? Because if they were born that way, that is natural, right? Not to mention who knows what behavior is good, is a positive evolutionary trait, and what isn't. No one's qualified to make that call. So they stay away from that. They say, you know what, we can't even touch that. We can't go down that path, because it's complete hypocrisy. Even us hypocrite shrinks don't want to go there. But what we can do, which the government is going to help us do and back us when we do, is drug them until they behave in a way that is favorable to the government. I mean, it's a no fucking brainer. You know, it's really a no-brainer when you look at it. Let's look at this some more, shall we? What if we live in a system like Nazi Germany, you know, which is always, it's a cliche example, right? But it's a good example. What if we live in a society where the norm is bad? It is normal to be mentally unhealthy, you know? What if being natural is better than being unnatural or artificial? Or superficial, for that matter. What happens then? You know? What happens then is what's happening now. And you know what they say, because you got to look, their argument is entirely based on artificial concepts, man-made ideas, imperfect science, and so on. They're like, well, he wants to take us back to the Stone Age. And why is that a bad thing? Because man has decided that it is socially normative to appreciate technology, right? To see us as advanced, an advanced civilization. So why should we regress as a society, right? Because that is a man-made idea. They all shake their heads and say, yeah, they're right, because it's normal to think that way. But is it correct? Does it take all the drinking water in the world to be contaminated before we realize it's not correct? Does it take all the air to be polluted? Climate change to be dramatic? And these are the same people that cause climate change. These are the tech people, you know? I think because they go green in some of their computer companies that magically they're the ones who, you know, are trying to save the world and they don't contribute to the problem at all. I mean, there's unlimited hypocrisy when you look at the left's arguments and what they're doing. They don't line up. They don't practice what they preach, if you will. To truly be natural is to do things as they were meant to be. The Christianity lines up with that. It says this is the natural family structure. This is our planet, our home. We have dominion because we are the kings of the jungle, which is a natural thing, right? As soon as man replaced the lion as the king of the jungle, you know, he now was the king. He's in charge. That's what the Bible says. God gave man dominion over the earth. You know, these are natural ideas. What they're talking about isn't natural. You know, can two people of the same sex naturally reproduce? No, that is unnatural. But the liberals would argue that that is natural. It's natural to be gay because you can be gay. You know? And the Bible actually takes an appropriate stance. They don't say, you know what? You cannot be that way by law. It's a Christian's duty to stop you. They don't say that. You know? They say don't judge. Don't force them to be straight. But teach them that it is wrong. It's very sad, you know. It's very sad indeed. Now, I'm not going to say I don't enjoy technology. It's a guilty pleasure, you know? Like being married and looking at some fine bitch's body. You're like, ooh, she's hot. On some level, you're guilty, you know? Especially if your wife catches you. Man, oh man. You know, it's really sad because I think we all know a lot of the things. I think most of the things that I say, we all know on some level. But we kind of don't want to admit it to ourselves. You know, well, I do because it's my life. It's what I do. You know, but other people, they live their life in a way where it's easier for them to pretend that I'm wrong and to slip into what is normal than to slip into what is natural and true. So I would argue that another word for natural is true. It's synonymous. It's an interchangeable word when it comes to, well, in many ways, it's not entirely, let me backtrack a little bit. It's not entirely interchangeable, but for the most part, it's interchangeable. What is man's true nature, for example? What is man's natural nature? What is man's true destiny? What is man's natural destiny? Oh, I like that. Truly. Oh, I like that. Naturally. The true order. The natural order. You see how that works? So then how do we apply that to mental health? What is that person's true behavior? What is that person's natural behavior? That is naturally healthy. That is truly healthy. That is naturally mentally healthy. That is truly mentally healthy. Ain't that about a bitch? It's right there in the English language, spelling it out for you. I guess somebody knew what they were doing when they made these words. Unlike the people in mental health, right? Unless your argument is they know that they're doing wrong and they like it that way. Which is pretty much my argument. Sad. Very, very, very sad. If he was in charge, there'd be crazy people running around. Oh, really? And there's not crazy people running around right now. Like the people in charge, like the shrinks, like the people behind Big Pharma or the international financiers that fund them. There would be crazy people would soon take over. They're already running the show and making everybody conform to their crazy ideas and customs and culture. Crazy culture. Oppressive culture. So what is better? A oppressive standard for social norms or a natural standard for social norms? I'm going to leave you with this last thought. It is socially normative to oppress righteous men and to use psychiatry and law enforcement on them. Furthermore, it is socially normative for society to not lift a finger to stop it. Generally speaking, in some rare cases, there's exceptions, some rare cases, some unique cases, society does get together and protest, like the Panthers sticking up for each other, Martin Luther King, rarely. And it's a very small group of people that does it. So when you consider it's a small group of people that does it, the statement pretty much is 100% true, right? Because it's socially normative not to do it. Most people don't do it. Ain't that about a bitch? We even have a day of the year, Martin Luther King Day, named after one of these people that most people didn't stick up for. Oh man, when the law enforcement was used on him. Socially normative for you. Oh boy. That's how they get you. And naturally there wouldn't be these institutions in the first place, right? You think cavemen had psychiatry? Oh boy. Yeah. Ain't that about a bitch? And they talk about natural medicine, right? True medicine. Well, we're not going to get into that because we're out of time. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? Same thing makes you laugh, makes you cry, makes you stop everything you're doing and pull up strapping on a bunch of fucking ninnies.